Okay, taking a look at these joints, there's just a couple changes that I want to make in it that I'm like, not 100% on. When we added the wrist joint, the local rotation axis is different than what we have on the others. So we just need to change those really quick. So again, we'll select the joint, click F8 with our local rotations axis option on, and local rotate tool. Just make sure your tool settings have the step snap turned back on. And we're just going to rotate this forward a few times. And we're going to do the same thing. So we will select the right wrist. And now we're going to rotate this up so that Y is pointing up. Just like that. And we're pretty good there. The other thing is that I did just slightly move these hips down just a tiny bit. So if you select them both, click insert, then you can move the joints along the translate X, and it won't mess up the orientation of the joint, and you can just position it just a little bit better. So I just lowered it a tiny bit so that it was closer to this line, and I think I had it up here before. So just slightly better. Hit insert again to get back out of that. The other thing is I don't really love this position of these joints for the clavicles. It's okay, but it could be better. So I'm going to select both of them, just shift select, and go to my move tool and go to insert. And this will allow me to move these joints without affecting the children joints at all. So I'm just going to move these back just a little bit, probably more like that. And I'm just moving it back on the Z axis. And that I'm a lot better with. We can move it maybe a tiny bit more. And that feels a lot better. So we'll hit insert again to get back out of the pivot mode. Now, obviously, the orient isn't going to be aligned going down the bone. So let's fix that. We're going to select this. We're going to go up to the skeleton. We're going to go to the orient joint option box again. This time, I don't want to mess with the children joints. So I want to make sure that I turn off orient children of selected joints. And I'm just going to select apply. And I'm going to do the same thing on the right side and select apply. And now it won't mess with anything else on that side. But I do want to make sure that in object mode, my local rotations has the Y up, the Z is forward, and then on the opposite side, the Y is up and the Z is back. And that is totally fine. Right side, there is going to be some opposite stuff there because it's going to function in an opposite behavior. So, and then right now we're just going to double check these axes. So we have Y up all the way down the joint chain, Z forward. We're going to do the same thing. So it looks like when we mirrored it, the joints were oriented not the way that we really want. So we're just going to select these joint orient axes on our shoulder, elbow, and wrist. And now just on the rotate Z, I'm just going, or on the rotate X, I'm going to go and rotate it 90 degrees there. got to go another 90. There we go. Okay. And then we have the Z is going forward. Actually, that might have been right. Let's undo all that. Yeah, I think what we need to do is move this forearm. To match that. Okay, and we're going to do the same on this. We'll leave that. Okay, let's take a look and let's make sure that these are rotating the way that we like. Okay, actually these orients are just fine. We are good. We just need to change the forearms and then make sure that our so you see this, our joint orientation on this, we want it to mirror the behavior, and right now it's not on the clavicle. So we're just going to go to the right clavicle and go into object mode by pressing F8. We're going to select that. And then we have Y down. So we're actually going to rotate on this Z axis, and we're going to go a 180. There we go. Okay, and that matches all the other axes. Now watch what happens. When we come back out and we select both of these, now our rotate Y is mirroring each other, our rotate Z is mirroring each other, and our rotate X is matching. So it's going to function the way that we would want it to when we build on top of it. So these are the changes. Just a couple little minor changes. It happens. You know, you're going to, you know, if you get further into rigging, you'll do stuff where you're like, oh, I need to change this joint. I want this to be a better position. I want this here, or this isn't quite rotating how I like it, so I need to change those positions. So totally fine, very normal, but that sets us and for our next step, which is binding and skinning our mesh to our joints and weight painting. And that will be the next lesson.